Good morning. This is the Blaze World webcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can also get more information and listen to previous shows at our website, which is behind me, blainsworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Stephanie Astalos. I should get
Astalos.
Astalos, sorry, Jones, who's a writer, stand-up comic, actor, and teacher, being my guest today. Stephanie, you can feel free to wave to all your friends and friends who are watching this. So give a big wave. You can give a big wave to everybody, and that's Stephanie. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're hoping we can get through this. Stephanie has spent the last 48 years working in theater, film, and television. So you started when you were 7 years old? You started
Yeah.
you were
No.
young, you were the youngest person ever in all these fields. She's bringing her one-woman show, More Disgruntled Fumes, to Asheville at Attic Salt for one performance only, Friday, May 30th. This is a tongue-in-cheek tribute to poetry, open mics, an evening that's hilarious and poignant. It offers a night of laughter, art, improv, stand-up, weird music, and feminism. And so the question I always ask, Stephanie, when I meet somebody for the first time, is as a child, you grew up where? Where did you grow up as a child?
I grew up in Lansing. Well, I grew up all over. I was born in Michigan, but by the time I was seven, we left Michigan. I lived for a year in Ohio. Then we moved again. I lived for about 5 years in Indiana. And we moved down to Georgia when I was 13. And so Georgia is where pretty much I stayed, where I matured.
So when you were growing up as a child or moving around, or even when you moved to Georgia, did you always know you wanted to be a performer? Did you know what you wanted to be in performing?
My mom would say I always just was one. Apparently, when I had tonsillitis, I laid in the bed and said, I'm dying. I see angels flying around my head. So I was just I remember doing a John Wayne impersonation when I was about five. So I didn't think those words. I'm a performer, but I was.
Wait, now you mentioned it.
I think it was high school before I realized, oh, this is what I want to do.
You mentioned it. Do we get to hear the John Wayne impression?
It's not the same anymore now that I'm an adult. But you
Okay.
picture a 5-year old walking, straddling, saying, "Oh, pilgrim." That will
Very,
be something like
very good. And plus, a lot of people don't know who John Wayne is now. A lot of this
more.
generation.
They won't even. It's a wasted impersonation.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do you remember then? So you starting as a 5-year-old, but you progressed. Do you remember the first time you ever acted on stage or did something where other people came to see you? Do you remember the first time? The first time you were on stage?
The first time of any significance was probably high school. I was in high school drama club and did a ton of plays, and real quickly learned that I really love getting a laugh. So that was I was pretty addicted to that.
Do you remember the first play you were ever in?
First play I was ever in. I might have been in Our Town. That's pretty early. I was pretty because I was so young in Our Town. I played like the young bride who's going to die, and there's a scene where you're supposed to kiss, and I was just horrible. Oh my God, I hadn't even kissed anybody. So I was pretty young. I was freaked out. I was going to have to kiss this senior boy. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I just did a show last night. Parkway Playhouse, a local theater, is doing Our Town now, and they're going to be doing it. I think I'll send you the information. I don't know. When you come up, are you going to be staying for a night or two? Or are you just staying coming up for the
I'm
one
gonna
time?
stay the night before, and then I'm gonna head to Marion and hang out with my daughter.
Well, it's so ironic because I'll send you the information in case you get to it, but that's really funny. They're doing the show same time you're doing your show.
That is that is a
So
coincidence.
So you then acted throughout school, and then when did you decide you want to make a career of this, that you wanted to become a performer on a full-time
I
basis?
I went to college I went to Agnes Scott College in Decatur to major in theater, but after a year of that, I didn't feel like I had already, just sounds like a jerk to say that. But anyway, I felt like wasn't getting any attention because I was pretty proficient. And so I wasn't getting, I didn't know any, I needed to learn more, but I wasn't really getting attention. So I left college and I apprenticed at the Academy Theater in Atlanta. And yeah, so that was probably I was like 19 when I seriously was like, no, I'm an actor. I'm gonna go learn more about this.
And in reading your introduction, it seems like you've done a whole bunch of different kinds of theater. You've done theater, you've done poetry, you have you done music also? Have you done the whole gamut? Have you done all sorts of different things in theater?
Musicals, I don't have a thing for music. I
Okay.
don't have a thing for musicals, but I've done I've done film, I've done television, theater wise, I've done comedy. I've been part of an experimental group where we improved every week and had a new show every Saturday. So sort of like guerrilla theater. We did weird stuff on street corners. I've done Shakespeare, I've done To Kill a Mockingbird, so standard theater and experimental theater. And um, for a while there, I was into stand-up comedy, so that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Do you have out of all the things you've done, do you have a favorite thing you do?
My favorite thing is sounds terrible. My favorite thing is me being on stage alone. I mean, I like making statements that I want to make. So my humor is my own, but also right now at this scary, important political time in our history, I like being able to make statements that I feel strongly about and have control over how those come out. So it doesn't. So yeah, my favorite thing is being able to express myself and kind of take control of the stage.
One of the things you said is kind of interesting that you mentioned you like doing your own thing and being in control of the stage. And so I tell a lot of people that one of the beauties of doing a one woman show, one person show, is that if you screw up, nobody will know excepting yourself. So you're
That's
the only one. If you miss a line, your director knows, but that's about it. Um,
right.
so talk a little bit about then the fact that you're bringing this, we'll call it one woman show to Asheville coming up, and the date is again, what's the date of it again? The date of the show.
It's Friday the 30th.
Right.
Friday the 30th at
Okay, so it's
7:30.
coming up in a couple of weeks. Talk about that idea. How did you come up with the idea of this one woman show?
The idea of the whole show itself.
Yeah.
Uh, I I went to I went to try to support a friend at a poetry open mic, and I found myself biting my cheeks, trying not to laugh out loud because there is a certain hilarity in really sincere, horrible poetry.
Right.
It's hilarious. So I just there's a whole lot of taking yourself very seriously and being angry and just being a shitty writer. So that's hilarious. And then it's the poignancy of a well-written poem. Poetry is beautiful and poignant and powerful. So that juxtaposition, I left that night and thought, man, I have got to write a show like this because it was compelling. I mean, and where people are allowed to laugh out loud. I wasn't supposed to be laughing out loud that night, but it was hilarious to me. So that's where it came from. And then there's several beauties in that because if you're writing it and it's a poetry open mic, you're reading it. So like there's not that, oh my God, I have to memorize all the it's important to seem real, to seem like the real thing, you know. And if the real thing, people are nervous, they're scared, they're looking down at their papers, they're reading it. And that's how it really is. So I don't like to over rehearse my show. If I feel like, all right, I'm ready. I don't want to over rehearse because it should never seem like I'm just doing anything by rote. Those those evenings are filled with fear and tension and shaky nerves of people trying to get up there and tell their truth. So yeah,
Now, as
I forget what question I'm answering.
I've got what I'm asking you, so that's okay too. But let me ask you this: in terms of the poetry, have you also written poetry?
Yeah, oh, I get that. But my dad was a poet writer. He was always writing poetry, and I'm a writer. Period. I've written monologues. I'm a writer. So all this poetry is original poetry that basically I inhabit these people and they write poetry. So every poet is distinctively different, but very real, and is going to deliver real, but very different styles of writing.
No, but it's cool. So these are your poems then that you wrote, or they're other
Yes,
people?
everything genuinely written by Stephanie Astalos-Jones.
Cool. Let me ask you this then. In terms of the writing of the poems, do you do that like do you write, do you get up in the morning early and write for 2 hours poetry, or how does that come to you?
It this sounds crazy, but it's true. They just hit me in the head like a lightning bolt. I mean, I was driving down the highway one time and I said to myself, what I said to myself out loud, this purse has a mind of its own. And that triggered something in my head. And I thought, a purse with a mind of its own. What would a kid imagine if she heard someone say that and imagined a purse with a mind? And all these words, the whole poem hit my head, and I had pulled over in a grocery store parking lot and wrote it down. And there's some very silly ones that just hit me, and so I don't like yearn for them. They just come to me.
So how many poems in this upcoming show? Approximately how many poems will there be? How many poems?
Oh, well, I mean, there's 14 characters,
Oh,
but some of the characters have more than one poem. I've never counted how many poems are in there. Like, say 14, you have to take away one, so that's 13. And then if you add a few more, maybe 17, 18.
do the poems change over time? In other words, you wrote them. Do they evolve over time?
The poems usually don't. The poets will write new poems. So I have several characters in here that have been in a lot of shows but have new material. I mean, there's one that typically used to do a really hilarious. I kind of hate cutting it out because it always got such huge laughs. But I thought, oh, I've done this for years. She had a hilarious poem about her vagina. So then now, even if you haven't seen it before, she does come out and say, I've decided I can write about more than just my vagina. So if you didn't see the previous show, you might not know where that's coming from. But I like for mentioning that poem because that one's always a killer. And so now she has new poems. So
How do you come up with the characters? You said there are 14 of them, or 13. How do you develop them? I'm going to pause, I think, just a
honestly, I
second.
think it's just people I notice.
Okay. Let me just pause a second. Hi, back again on the Blaine's World webcast. I had a little technical difficulty, but I think we've resolved it. And it's my pleasure to be speaking with Stephanie Astalos-Jones about an upcoming one-woman show she's going to be doing at Attic Salt. And Stephanie, I asked you the question, you said mentioned 14 characters. How do you come up with these 14 different characters?
Right. And I don't have any brilliant fast answer for that. Nobody's asked. It's like many of them are simply based on people that I see. Now, some are people I know. I mean, I play my grandpa, and that is really my grandpa. If you come to the show and you see me put on this old blue sweater, that's my grandpa's sweater, even. So I wear it to like commune with him. And I couldn't take my grandpa anywhere without him starting in on stupid jokes. He would just start in. No, you could be trying to just go to eat at a restaurant. And he would grab the hostess and start telling him some, what do you call? I mean, he would just start. So, I mean, it's really a tribute to my grandpa, whom I love and miss. So,
When we see your show, will we get to hear some of those jokes?
oh yeah, oh yes, you get a good cheer of grandpa.
Did your grandpa ever get to see you perform on stage? He ever see you act?
However, I did a thing. It was interstitial. If you know, interstitial just means a program that they just use when a movie stops a little bit before the hour. They stick in something that's 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 1 minute. Well, there was a hilarious program called Blotter, was actually like the predecessor to Reno 911. It was a cop show. Anyway, Blotter, and I played a really hilarious like quickie mart attendant, and the she was really country. She really talked like this, and I smoked, and I was, and it played during Braves games. So my grandpa was watching the Braves game, and this thing is like kind of filthy and kind of made some pretty dirty, hilarious things. But my grandpa calls me up, Staff, I just saw you on TV. I said, could you understand what I was saying? And he said, no. I was like, oh, good.
Well,
But yeah, so he saw me in that, but didn't know what he was watching.
okay. Did they clean that up at least a little bit, or they edited it out? You said some of it was
Oh
kind
no, I mean, it's funny. It's not like that dirty because I mean, it played at a Braves game,
of okay.
but I would just be embarrassed for my friend to hear me referring to pornos and stuff. So
By the way,
yeah,
if is any of this stuff on your website or on YouTube? If people want to see some of the stuff you've done previously, can they see it?
actually, a friend recently found that. Uh, I was shocked. She found that. Let's see, it was in YouTube. I think it's I might have to look that up. It was Blotter, it might say like Monkey Mart. Monkey Mart was the name of the. It might say Blotter Monkey Mart attendant. And it is a hilarious little bit. It's very short, and it's all me just smoking and talking about things going on in the vicinity. But so you might can find Monkey Mart. If you're like just to look for general things I've done, I do have that website. So if you looked up Stephanie Astalos-Jones, Stephanie Astalos-Jones.com, there's little videos in there and shots from different film and television and things about disgruntled fumes as well.
You also mentioned to me off the air that you had, I guess, a first run of this disgruntled fumes, and now you had a second one. This is more. What's the difference between the two? Where when did you do disgruntled fumes, and then you started to do an update? Was that it?
I did disgruntled fumes for years, just changing it on my own. All kind of different characters came and went in disgruntled fumes. And then I guess I just got a wild hair. Like, well, this is a very disgruntled fume. So I did that kind of to let people know who had seen that. I have friends who like love the show and they've seen it 7 times. So I thought, well, I'll change the name so they know this is more disgruntled fume. So they know this is really a change up that everything got kind of switched out, even though some of the people are the same. The
So
poems are switched out.
if people come to see you at Attic Salt, describe a little bit. What are they going to see? What's the show like, or what's it all about?
The show is simply like sitting if you went to a coffee house and there was a sign up that said open mic poetry, and you would just sit at the coffee house and watch various people stand up and declare their poems. That's I just wanted to be as genuine as that.
Do you have to like poetry to enjoy the show? Do you have to be a
No,
fan?
you do not.
Okay,
There's
good.
a lot of stuff that's very like woman humor, but you don't even have to have a uterus. Yeah, men. I always think, oh, this is so woman oriented, but men really love it too. So it's just a lot of good laughs and some poignancy.
And so the show is how long? How long from start to
About an
finish?
hour 20. There
Oh,
is an intermission. So with the intermission, it's about an hour 20.
okay, my kind of show. I don't know about you, but as I get older, I like shorter. So the shorter, the earlier is better for me. So hour 20, I can do. And the date of the show is when? What date is it's coming up? What's the date of the show?
Date of the show is Friday. That's May Friday, May 30th, 7:30 at Attic Salt.
And you tell me off the air that this is a show that they're not going to be able to get tickets advance, but they have to go to the theater that night. And
Yep.
in terms of if people want to know more about you, though, they can't see the show per se. They can't see all the stuff you're going to be doing. But if they want to find out more about you, what's the best bet? To go to your website?
Yeah, if they just want to learn more about me, it would be the website I just said, Stephanie Astalos-Jones at, oh no, no, sorry. StephanieAstalos-Jones.com. Is there anywhere they're going to see that? Will my name be spelled out for them somewhere already? Should I
Good.
spell it out for?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. What I'll do, let me make a note. I will put I'll put it in the description of this webcast. So I'll say, hey, what webcast about? If you
Okay.
want more information, go to you. Thank you for mentioning that. Go to your website to find out more. Let me ask you this. So after we do this one woman show, do you have any down the road, do you have anything else you're working on or something people can look forward to seeing you in?
I don't right now. I continue to want to book more disgruntled fumes. So I'm looking for a venue in Atlanta and I just would want to keep touring this for a while. I don't have much on the horizon right now. The film industry is having a moment, not a great moment in Georgia right now. So you know, as an actor, nothing's ever promised, and you can't have, just kind of play it by ear, see what comes.
In terms of this, though, the poems and what you wrote, did you put them in writing or have you ever done a book of the poems or are you going to put them in writing somewhere?
That's an idea. A friend of mine has said more than once.
Welcome back again to the Blaine's World webcast. And we're still fighting through some technical difficulties, but I appreciate, Stephanie, you are working with me on this. And we're speaking with
I'm a
Stephanie
trooper.
again about her one-woman show. And the question I asked, so these poems, are they in writing anywhere or have they been written down anywhere?
Other than me writing them down, they've not been written down. A friend of mine has urged me, saying, "I don't know why you don't just make a book of them." Because I also am a visual artist. I could draw. I could probably sketch a little. Here's this person, and then have the poem with them. And it's something to think about for my future. Maybe I'll do that sometime. It would be a cool book.
Okay, well, no, I'm encouraging you to do it because just listen to it. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun, and then especially with the art also. So hopefully, we'll encourage you to do that. Stephanie, you've been a real trooper. We've had all sorts of technical difficulties in the show. I'll ask you one last time the date of the show and where it's going to be.
Right. You can come to Attic Salt Theater in Asheville on Friday, May 30th, 7:30 in the evening. Come down. Tickets will only be sold at the door. Come on down, have a ticket, and have some fun.
Okay, it sounds like this is a show you're not going to see anywhere else because I haven't been to too many poetry readings. I've never been to a poetry reading kind of a spoof on them, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for being my guest. I hope we got through somehow I think we got through this. And so hopefully I'll see you on May 30th or some other time. I'd also like to thank my producer, Cap Cassetti, and somewhere sometime we'll bump into each other. Thanks, Stephanie.